Tony Bergida tonight. He has run several statewide campaigns, and he has also been involved with the Young Republicans in Johnson County, and that's what we would like to get started here as a Young Republicans group. And then once he is done, I'm going to come up and talk about our precinct, what precinct people do, and the openings that we have. Because we are in January of 2022, and we have to take some of our seats back in Kansas, starting with the governor. So we want to get everybody prepared and get our grassroots campaign started so we can help all of our legislative and everybody that's running this year, so we can keep our seats and take over some of the seats that we lost in the past election. So Tony, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you.
Thank you, Melinda. Ronald Reagan once said that freedom is never more than a generation away from extinction. It is not passed through the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for our children to do the same. For those of you that don't know me, thank you, Melinda, for the introduction. But I'm the vice chair of the Kansas Young Republicans, and I was a co-founder of the Johnson County Young Republicans. What I want to talk with you all this evening is tell you a little bit about me, a little bit about the Kansas Young Republicans, and then what we need to do to get a local chapter restarted here in Leavenworth. So I come from a family of entrepreneurs and pioneers. My great-grandfather was an inventor. He invented the push car lock and the bobby pin. My grandfather was a paratrooper in the U.S. Army, never went to college, but afterwards started his own painting and construction firm. My mother was a baker. I remember growing up, we'd go to farmers markets, hear talk about the minimum wage these days. Our minimum wage was $0. It was actually worse than $0. You had to pay to get a spot. And then I have my own business doing new product development, and I'm also the vice president for a small engineering firm based out of Kansas and Missouri. And then on my wife's side, her great-grandfather was a farmer, and with his son, they built with their bare hands, stone by stone, their local church here in Kansas, and we're very proud of their history with that. I met my wife in college at a little school not too far north from here. I followed her to Iowa when she got a job. After we got married and I got my piece of paper, we came back to Kansas for work, and then we decided to stay here because this is a great place to raise a family. We've got 2 kids, a son and a daughter. My daughter just had her first birthday. She has 6 teeth coming in. She's the cutest thing in my world. And my son, he's about to turn 3. And he's entered into that phase where why? Why everything? Why this? Why that? Why is dad upset with the Democrats? And I don't always have an answer for him on everything. But I do know why it's important that we have a strong Young Republicans organization here in Kansas and in other spots throughout the state. When I was in college, the second college, not Benedictine, it was a very liberal school. I had classmates who the Green Party wasn't far enough left for them. And the professors were all on the left side. It's tough. I'm not trying to be like, oh, poor young people. But it's tough coming out of the education system that we have nowadays to stand on conservative and Republican principles if everything you're being thrown at, they use very moral language, that you're a bad person, that you hate people, that you discriminate if you believe in ideals of limited government and Christian principles of our founding fathers. So, well, how does the Kansas Young Republicans address this. First off, the Kansas Young Republicans is not the college Republicans. I had multiple people come up to me being like, okay, so how are you guys different? Well, we're not just limited to college campuses. So Young Republicans are for any registered Republican in the state of Kansas under the age of 40, so 18 to 40. We've got about 8 chapters across the state, about 150 members. We're still rather small, but we're growing. We won at the Young Republican National Federation Conference. We won 2 awards for our growth, and the leadership is hungry to grow. We are targeting Leavenworth, Riley County, and Finney County as 3 areas where we really need and can have strong young Republican groups. What the Young Republicans mean for a local community is kind of twofold. There's one, what it does for an individual, but then what it also does for the community as well. When Melinda first invited me to come speak with you all, I was flattered but a little humbled, because coming from a purple, more bluish county like Johnson, coming to one of the most red parts of the state, you all obviously know how to win, and could be teaching us a couple things in that department. But something that the Young Republicans in Johnson County have been able to do for the organization as a whole, we've grown to over 100 members within the span of about 14 months. What that meant was treasurers on campaigns, volunteers knocking doors. We had a number of candidates run for office and win. I know you all had your own Young Republican run and win. Griff Martin's back there.
I feel young.
And then, and there was just, as the year went on, our relationship with all the different local county groups grew and grew to a point where they would all come and support our events, and we do our best to go to their events and help staff or volunteer as best we could. And it was a real collaborative relationship. On the reverse side of this, and this is something that applies to some of you here, but it will apply to people you know, either your kids, your grandkids, and their friends. The Young Republicans group provides the opportunity to meet like-minded people. We give you the resources to go out and do some good in the community, and the ability to learn about our Republican values. So, what do we need to do to get this done in Leavenworth County? I think this meeting is a good start. I know that there are a number of young people here today, and I will have my tablet afterwards, and I want to get y'all's information and see what we can do to get a reorganization meeting. But there's a saying I like to say. It's actually an old proverb, so I didn't come up with this. But it says, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go together. Here in Leavenworth County, there is such a strong Republican group. And the young folks starting this group are going to need y'all's support. One of the things that we did in Johnson County that I really think this made the group is we started an advisory board where we took folks that were either well-connected donors, people that had run for political office before, people that were either had led groups in the past or were highly involved in their community, and they sort of formed an advisory board for the Young Republicans. Can you hear me now? Okay. I'm really bad with microphones. We'll try this. Is that better? Okay.
You don't need to start over.
I don't know if you want me to start. So firstly, that is having that relationship between that Young Republicans group and all the wisdom and knowledge that you all have. So that would be step one. Step two, this is about the going together and not necessarily fast part, is that we need good people to run the group. or to start the group. So this is where you might start thinking about 3 to 4 young people who are humble, who have a team-working spirit, who really want to grow this group and for it to succeed. I know oftentimes, I don't think I've seen this in Leavenworth, but in some other places I've been, with young Republicans or another group, people just come into leadership to propel themselves to run for office or something like that. And that's something that is not necessarily helpful, if you will. I know on the flyer you all were promised innovative strategies, and I'm with a lot of smart people at my job, so I can promise you all that the good ideas don't come from me necessarily. But I do know how to ask questions. And so that's another thing. So in addition to folks that can help guide these people forward, we need 3 or 4 young people who are hardworking, humble, and can work well with one another. And then lastly, and this is the part that candidates usually say is their least favorite part about running for office. The group will need money. In Johnson County, we were blessed to raise a decent amount of money and to leave a good amount of money for the group coming in. It's a lot easier to text a lot of folks to come to an event or promote an event or host an event if you have the funds to make that happen. And so I know when this group starts up and it gets its bank account, I will be the first one to cut a check for the group, and I'll do my best to get the statewide organization to do one as well. But when that happens, if you all, it doesn't matter how little or how big, if you're able to chip in, that will go a long way towards making sure this group not only thrives, but survives after its initial founders. So I do appreciate all of your attention. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm not a super formal guy, so if you have a question for me now or afterwards, I'm happy to answer that.